welcome. It's time for the week 2 check-in, so I'm just going to jump right into it, no introduction. Right off the bat, I'm trying to remember it from reading it a full week ago. But right off the bat, one thing I do remember is I didn't resonate a ton with chapter 2 or the week 2 reading material, which is okay because the first half of it, I was connecting to it from a sympathy standpoint, in that I totally understood the person the author was talking to in chapter 2, because at least the first half of it was a lot about taking ownership of your time, especially from people who will try their hardest to sabotage you, or from Julia Cameron. She calls them crazy makers, but as I was reading it, I was mentally thinking of them as energy vampires. It was not a hard read, but I was reading it ooh, I'm getting angry on your behalf, but not I was connecting with it. I did have a slightly harder time picking tasks for that chapter, but I ended up doing it. Update on the bread. I said I was going to do bread last week for my artist date, but I had already done another one that week, and I just didn't have the time to make the bread. But this week I did make bread. That was my artist date, and so I'll put up pictures of the bread. In my mind, I was thinking, oh, this process is going to be so relaxing and so fulfilling, and I'm going to enjoy it so much. It's going to feel so cozy and good. In actuality, how it turned out, it was so it was the amount of time that it took that was really that I was really not feeling. I was doing a no knead bread. I mixed all my ingredients together and I let it proof for 2 hours, and then I formed the dough, let it proof for another 30 or 40 minutes or something, and then put it in the oven. So the thing is, because of that hour of proofing, and then another half hour or so of proofing, and then cooking, the whole process took so long. And if I had started earlier in the day, or if I'd been able to start it in the morning, I don't think this would have been a problem. But I started kind of late. So by the time I finished and I pulled the bread out of the oven, I was quite amazed with the recipe and with the way it turned out. I got a nice crunch on the crust by putting a pot of hot water in the oven with my bread, and spraying the sides of the oven with a spray bottle full of water to get it really steamy. That was something that the recipe that I read and watched suggested. I'm going to try to find it and link it below, because I think if you want to make bread, I recommend that recipe. So check the description for that. But aside from that, it was my first time, so don't want to be too hard on myself. Crunchiness, great. Taste, mid. I didn't get the chance to let it fully cool down, because by that point it was I had to go to work the next morning, and it was already way past when I would normally be in bed. So, and then I was I don't know how to store this, and I can't just leave it out. So I ended up sticking it in the fridge in tinfoil, and it went in the trash eventually. So I would like to try another bread recipe, but I really would have to dedicate a whole day to bread, which I'm not against, but it was I share space with family members. I live at home. I don't get to have the kitchen all to myself to do a project that will take a long time, or I can't like, I can't control fully, like, everyone's schedule when it comes to using the kitchen. So it would just be something I have to plan ahead a little bit. But it was not giving like cozy cottage core vibes. It was it was giving sadness, tiredness, exhaustion.
It's like a reward.
But I'm proud that I did it. So while it wasn't an ideal experience, it was not bad. Part of me is like it was bad, but then another part of me, I want to view it like positively. So I'm gonna say it wasn't a bad experience. It just could have been better, and I would have liked to give it the chance to like really cool down. And maybe I should try a kneading recipe. And also for like something that's like my first thing I've ever baked, really, a yeasted recipe. I'll watch Claire Saffitz's YouTube video, and she has said in one of her like Q&A videos, a yeasted recipe is not ideal for beginners because it's a like variable that you have to control. But she didn't say it's not good for beginners. She said she would suggest doing something without yeast first and sticking to like one recipe and doing it over and over again. So maybe I'll try out that recipe again. Maybe I'll try a kneaded recipe because I don't know. I kind of want to troubleshoot it, but also maybe I want to try something with like a different flavor. I don't really know. So that's how my artist date went. My morning pages. So I don't dislike doing morning pages, but it definitely got in the way of my like established schedule in that I like get to work early to try to like get a certain amount of hours on the clock so that I can leave early on Fridays, which is, that's just something my company allows me to do. And I like with the morning pages and with like getting up in the morning, I kept just like running into obstacles or like getting unlucky. Like there was one morning I managed to wake up early enough to do them before getting ready for work, but I had two separate pens both just dry up like mid sentence while I was trying to do it, and I was just like, well, can't do this right now. Or I was just like not waking up at the time that I wanted to like get it done. It was just like kind of a mess. And then that threw off because I couldn't leave as early as I wanted to on Friday. That kind of threw off my schedule for this weekend. I did manage to do them most days, but yesterday morning I fully forgot and I was so like, like upset because I wanted to do like 100% completion like every week. So I'm still going to try my hardest to do it every single day because I do like the idea of like journaling every morning and just like getting like out of my head a little bit. But I think this week in particular was more difficult to do that, both because of what I had mentioned before, but also I think I just had more like clutter in my mind this week because I'm preparing to go on vacation this following weekend. So there's a lot on my mind for like preparations and like I'm making like arrangements and appointments and stuff like that. And I felt like last week, week one, I felt like a surge of like motivation and excitement and like energy. And this week I felt really like drained, or I wasn't seeing the same kind of results, which it's not exactly to be expected, but it's also not exactly like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. It was not what I expected, but like what I think I expected the like excitement for this like new process or new like journey or whatever to last longer. And when I hit like the second week and I was already like coming down really hard, I was like, come on, man, like I I want to like do more, or like get more done. When it comes to like writing, I was still having trouble like getting ideas, or like getting stuff done. I did, now that I think of it, there is a project that I made like significant progress on, but it's not the one that I wanted it to be. So I guess that's good. Like I did struggle with like some outlining, and then like a couple days later when I went back to, I like struggled with it so much, and I was upset with myself for not being able to flesh it out as much as I wanted to. And then a couple days later I went back to it, actually this morning I went back to it, and I was able to very easily just fill in everything. So that I felt good about. There is something else that like I was like, oh, trying to, like, I really want to work on this particular thing, and I didn't get like the words down, like I didn't get like the word count that I wanted, but I did get over like a hump in like laying out all my ideas. So that's something that took me like a long time. I was like supposed to go to bed, and I was just like writing out like everything that was in my head to like lay it out like neatly. And I'm glad I did that. At this part in the process, I don't think you're supposed to share a ton of work. At least in the book, Julia Cameron says don't let people read your morning pages, or don't read them to people, or ask anyone for critique on them. But I like laid out all my ideas, and I sent it to like my writing group chat, and everyone was very encouraging instead of critiquing, just like thumbs up, which I appreciate. Shout out my friends. So I felt good about doing that, because I find it difficult to share my work sometimes. And I think that is related to some of the stuff I was realizing last week about how often I would share my work with people who basically didn't deserve to see it. And I have like in the past been in like writing groups, or like forums, where I have like shared something and then gotten reactions and be like, oh, I actually was not ready to share that, because like my idea was at too vulnerable of a place for me to be receiving critique, or outside influence or ideas. So luckily the sort of like reactions I were getting were just general, which I like. And if I wanted something like more specific, that's something that I could ask for. But in general, I have been feeling more like doubts, like some like insecurities, and have been pretty like low energy, and have been having trouble with like motivation this week. So now that I think about it, I think I'm doing okay, but I think there's just like so much going on, and then also at work I'm kind of like in the mire with some stuff. So I have not yet read the next chapter that I have to read today. It's Sunday, and that's the day I start my week. So I have to pack, but I also have to read the chapter and do all the tasks, which I'm I'm not like I think I read at a normal speed, but in my mind it's always like, oh, reading this is going to take me so long, and I like stress myself out about that, which is why I try to do it early in the morning. But I had a lot of stuff going on today, and yesterday I was also like, oh, I'm gonna pack yesterday, but I did my hair yesterday, so I'm gonna try my hardest to do that. My biggest challenge right now, I think, is time and like doubts or like doubting thoughts that I'm having. But I am going to try to like capture those thoughts and turn them into affirmations, because that is what Julia Cameron says to do. So I'm going to try to like really identify what exactly is I'm telling myself that is stopping me from moving forward in the ways that I want. I'm trying to like pinpoint where like these feelings are coming from so that I can like affirm myself or correct these thoughts, or like change them into more like positive thoughts. But I have a pretty positive outlook. So even as I'm like talking about these things, I'm like in my mind I had been thinking like I had a pretty bad week, but now that I'm talking about it, I'm thinking I think I still am moving forward and making progress, and that's good. I just have some extra obstacles in that I'm going to be like doing a bunch of new stuff that is stressing me out. So there's that. One thing in particular I was kind of surprised about is I had read one of the tasks was writing affirmations a certain amount of times. And that is something that I've heard about before and like done before. I've done it before, but I didn't do it like consistently for a long period of time. And I found myself in my journaling for the morning pages, I had thought to myself I wasn't going to do the affirmation task, but as I was writing my pages, I just like impulsively started doing it, and I did it basically, I'm pretty sure I did it every single day or every day that I journaled. So, not sad. I did do a little journaling Saturday night, but just to like have something in my book. I didn't do a full 3 pages. I did like 1 page, and I was just like, I forgot to do my pages, just as like something to look back on in the future. But I might have done it. I might have not. But yeah, last night I also did my written check-in in my journal. So that was interesting to me. I don't know if I'm going to keep doing it or if it's something that's just going to like fall off, but I don't know. We'll find out. I'm so tired. I'm so sleepy. But I've got stuff to do. So that's it for this week's check-in. Bye-bye.